Okay, welcome this STFX trading flow. Once again, we have a very simple topic. This week seems to be a very cold week. We don't have as many entries as we expected to be. But if you check on the most market, what we're having is we are in the process of transition from those who are in a down trade, they're heading to an up trade. If you check like here in Euro USD, we had a down trade, the market is transitioning to an up trade. And this actually happens. If you check most of these trades, what actually happens is it may drop for a month, chop in a week, but in another month, then drop once again. Like for last month, this was for last month for Euro USD. It seems this week now we are almost having a transition up to an uptrend because the trend seems to be changing, but we don't have the momentum. So we have to keep on waiting the market. But the key thing of this simple YouTube simple video is to explain a simple topic on trade management, or how as STFX trading flow, how we put our TP and SLs, because we found like last week had a trade on Euro USD, and it was quite unfortunate because we found many of you had not put a sell, especially for those who are in VIPs. It's important. If you check in our NZD CAD, we had a very good week. It had a very good drop for 3 straight days, and it managed for 100 pips. If you check on Euro UGBP, it's the same. These are the only two that we had because we had hit it at this trade. Mr. Sell by a whisker, then yesterday moved up almost another 100 pips, but the other one is the Euro CAD didn't move in our directions. So the three main trades we've been having, we are trying to check for anything, but it's not there. If you check like even in AUD USD, the one that we've been holding for almost a month, it's now changed. It's almost changing now the trend. You can see what you're having. We had a very huge 3 days of uptrend up, because we cannot confirm this is an uptrend. This is just a pullback, or what we call a retracement from the impasse drop wave. It happens here. If you check, the same structure is here, drops, then continues to move up. Another updraft here, changes the trend, moves up. We're expecting almost the same thing here after maybe a bit of retracement, maybe today or tomorrow, because tomorrow is on a Friday. And from there, the market will continue in our direction, maybe get as many entries as possible. We are expecting other good entries for other currencies, but they didn't confirm our entries. If you check again, AUD/JPY the same. They almost one in the same place. We had a very good drop from around this candle here. This is the candle that, no, it was this candlestick here that we hit a sell, dropped very well for over 500 pips. And after that, it's almost transitioning once again to an uptrend. So it's just to keep on waiting, because we know by next week we will confirm so many long-term trends, and I think they'll be one of the best that we may be having. Most of the currencies, they're having one and the same thing. But today, you want to see how can you place a TP and an SL, at least to have a demonstration today, like if it is in Euro USD. In most cases, we say that in our cases, we do get in the market based on pairs of engulfing bars. Like in such a case, you'll find in most cases, we never get into a market or enter a market based on 2 consecutive sales. No, it must be the first one. Thereby, after this one, after retracement, we may get a sell or a confirmation. The problem is today, you don't have any confirmations. If there's like here, an example like in Euro USD, if I'm getting in like an example, if like yesterday we have a bullish engulfing buy, it's only that it confirms the trend but does not have the momentum. So you cannot get in because the market is still choppy. That's what indicating the market is still in a range. It's moving in this range. It has not yet it is not yet moved in the direction that you want. We hope this maybe could have dropped down and continue with the trend, not yet. Then confirmed our transition using if you check our indicative elements, the first indicative of an uptrend is here. We don't know what may happen. You have to keep on waiting. So what do? If in such a case I want to put maybe say a bullish bar, then example I want to buy in such a case, let's put a small, that's so that we don't destroy the account. So if it's a buy in such a case, what happens actually is that the market that we'll have here is that now, where do you put the stop? That is the key thing. We said you put a few pips below, 5 to 10, like such an example. This is where you should put it, like 5 to 10. This was the low of the day. if you put any candlestick, let me maximize this one, the highest and the lowest point the candlestick had hit on a previous day, because that is the candlestick we do explain, we do put our sell based on. If the price breaks below here, that is not our trade again. So what do? Few pips, maybe like 5 to 10. That is just okay there. That is okay there. Then the TP, so for the stop loss, you concentrate on the previous candlestick. But when it comes to TP, because we said now, for you to have a risk reward ratio of at least 1:1, 1:2, 1:3, if you are willing to lose these pips, then the minimum take profit, if it goes in your direction, you should win it at least the same, so that you have a risk reward ratio of 1:1, so that even if you have 5 trades, if you lose 5 and you win 5, you're at break even. But of course, in our case, most cases you find that our risk reward ratio is at a minimum of 1:2, 1:3. So that's why even if you lose a trade, so you look at the next, like the next resistance level. This is the next resistance level. So that from the price, if you check the price here in terms of pips, from our stop loss from this point to this, that is 82 pips. But what about from the price to the TP? That's why we do hold. That is an average 250 pips. That is tells you it's like almost three times the profit than the stop loss that you're expecting. So even if you have such a trade, you just win 3 in 10. Even if you win 4 out of 10, you're on the profit side. And that is the case that happened this week. If you check our case like in Euro GBP, we were able to average something like the entry was around this point. That was 50 pips. And the DDCAD, this one I counted, it was 100 pips because this was our entry. The rest is it was so one weight 100 pips. But if you compare that with the loss that we experienced in Euro CAD, it was less than 70 pips. That tells you you're already in a profit. So that is the case that I was explaining about. But the problem with this trade is that this was not long term, because you see, this is where the trend should have started, around this point. You can hold from this point. You hold a long-term trend from the start of the trend. If you miss that, those others is what I call intradays. You see, after the first bearish engulfing, we got in because it had the momentum based on our indicative elements. You don't just get into the market just like that. So you have to wait for all that. And if you check even in a Euro JPY, you're almost having one of the same structure. Maybe you'll have new trends. Like this one, we had a new trend starting from this point. You can hold from there all the way to this point. But if I get a candlestick in between, it's 1 to 3 days and I'm done. But at the start of the trend, like in maybe a JPY from this point, we had this one, bullish engulfing bar. This is the one that had the momentum. We could afford this one for another 500 pips. These are the trades that, but if I get an entry from around this point, it's just 1 to 3 days, and then I'm out. Those are intradays and long terms. That is the difference in our trading. So every time we give a trade, if I just indicate Euro USD buy, if we just indicate that into the market, just go to the previous candlesticks, just a few pips, then look for the next support or resistance level. For anyone who is picking most of our signals, that is so easy for you. And you can be able to check the trend, how the trend has been moving. If the transition of the trend is just like, if the trend is just starting, though we always indicate, make sure that one you are holding for quite a long time. Check for the next support or resistance level. If I was to sell like this one, we had a sell from this candlestick here in a down trade. If I had indicated this one a sell from this point, if we indicate a sell from that point, of course, you know the stop loss is few pips behind this candlestick, this one, this small candle here, just 5 to 10 pips, that is enough around that. Because if this price comes and hit there, that is not your trade. But if you don't get a very good support or resistance level, let's come to the weekly chart, look for the next support or resistance level that we have from such an entry, which was at this point. I would have come to this point here. Look at this support level. And you check the price hit at the same exact point. Let's go back now to the daily chart and see. You see, it hit the same point. That's where the TP was exact and just retraced back. So for those, that is how you place our TP and stop losses for most of those who are in our VIP groups. Even the others I don't know, or those who may want to subscribe to, or those who are learning our strategy. This is the key part. The other part of trade management, we'll have another lesson, maybe next week or next lesson, or maybe next week, but one. But basically, that's how you place the TP and SLs, and risk reward ratios plays in very well. Even if you are chasing a trade, like in ZDCAD, if you check in such a market here, we just come to the weekly chart and see where the TP is. If you could have checked at this point, you see, it hit it at the same point. This was at around 100 pips away from our candles, because check here, and it hit at the same point. Look, is the same. We have the support on the daily chart, and the price just bounced back up, moving up, because this is where you had the TP. And from that point, from our trade, you had averaged how many pips? Almost 90, 91. That's almost 100 pips. Because of this one, you know, of course, you'll hit 100 pips. That is it, and that is it. If your trade hits 100 pips, just exit. From StFX Trading Flow, that is it for now. At least you learned something. Keep on learning, keep on getting something from us. So for the issues of stop loss, TP, that is done.